Guys, this is Bongani from The Edge. In this particular section or question, you would have like a question that looks like this. So if cos 62 degrees is equals to k, determine the value of each of the following terms in terms of k. So 5.1.1 sine 28 degrees and 5.1.2 is cos 242. So if we can try to firstly deduce if we have something like cos theta is equals to a. Let's say for instance we have something like that. We know that our cos theta, if we want to deduce it in terms of sides, we know cos is adjacent out of hypotenuse, right? In questions like this, please always keep in mind the ratio of the sides that you learned when you're starting out the section of trigonometry. So the SOHCAHTOA, because I'll be referring to it many times in this section. So since we know that adjacent out of hypotenuse is cos theta, then if they say our cos theta is equals to a, how can we write this a in terms of a fraction? So we can say a out of 1 is equals to a. Then now, as we can see, we have written cos theta in terms of like an adjacent out of a hypotenuse. So our hypotenuse is going to be the value of 1 and our adjacent is going to be the value a. If I can take it even a step further, if I can draw a triangle with the theta here, a right angle triangle. So we know this side is the one where we have our adjacent, this side is our hypotenuse. So we know this side now is going to have a length of 1, then adjacent is going to have a length of a. So we know this one is opposite, which is what we don't know. So as you can see, we can represent sides in terms of like values like this. You see, in this case we just have only an a, but you have to know your a can be written in a form of a out of 1. So that's the whole idea here. So let's say now I'm saying to you, what is the value of cos 90 degrees minus theta? We know that 90 degrees minus theta is this angle over here. It's gonna be this 90 minus theta. We all know that in a right angle triangle, if you are given an angle and you have a right angle here, you know that that angle that you don't know is going to be 90 minus this angle. It's going to be the value of the other angle that you don't know. So let's say again you have this. Now this is a different situation. If now they say cos 90 minus theta, what is it equals to? From the same situation that we had here. Remember, our hypotenuse is this, our adjacent is this, our opposite is this. But now, if we are looking at this angle, that will change. The values of a hypotenuse and adjacent and opposite will change because we are no longer looking at this triangle in this angle. So now we are using this angle to calculate the value of cos 90 degrees. So if you think about it now, if you want to make your life simple, if you flip this triangle and you say, okay, now I have my 90 degrees like this, that's the angle here, and here that's your theta. So if you have something like this, as you can see, this side over here, let me highlight it, this side here is this side over here, and also this side over here now becomes this side over here, and the hypotenuse is actually simple because it remains the same if you look at it like this. So you see now from the previous sketch that we had, the opposite now on this, when we're looking from this particular angle, the opposite now changes to be our adjacent, so it's x here. And our adjacent here changes to be an opposite here. Now it's a. And our hypotenuse remains the same, right, which is 1. If we now want to write cos 90 degrees minus theta, it's still going to be the same. It's going to be an adjacent over a hypotenuse. But now, when you look at your adjacent, you don't know it now. So adjacent, we can call it x, then your hypotenuse, you know it's 1. So now as you can see, the whole thing changed. So cos 90 minus theta is x, but cos theta is a. So that's the whole idea of how we're gonna tackle these questions that we have here, right? I was not answering the questions, I was explaining the whole concept that we're gonna be using to actually answer those questions. I hope this video made sense to you. If it didn't, you can leave a comment of a question down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you.